This episode is brought to you by the realistic free-to-play online game War Thunder. Start your own career as an ace tanker of World War II by using the link in the description below and get a free premium vehicle and 3 days of premium time as a bonus. The 7.5cm PaK-40 anti-tank gun, World War II. The PaK-40 was one of the most successful German anti-tank gun designs of World War II. The first pre-production models entered service on the Eastern Front in November 1941, and from 1942 they were used on all fronts in large numbers. The Germans had begun to develop the idea of dedicated anti-tank guns just after the First World War. Since the development of tank armor was improving, a necessity to develop a weapon that could counter it was needed. A weapon that was more powerful than the 13mm Mauser T-Gewehr anti-tank rifle or existing field guns. This led to the birth of new dedicated weaponry, anti-tank guns, or, as the Germans called them, Panzer-Abwehrkanone, hence the German designation, PaK. The first gun in the series was the 37mm PaK-35-36, which was the standard gun for anti-tank units when the Second World War had started. The next generation of anti-tank gun that followed was the 50mm PaK-38, which replaced it from late 1940. This gun was a significant improvement in terms of power and protection and was used by the German army until the end of the war. As German military leaders justifiably presumed further development of their tanks and their armor, they continued to develop more powerful anti-tank guns. Shortly after the war broke out in 1939, High Command gave contracts to the companies of Rheinmetall-Borsig and Krupp to build a new 75mm anti-tank gun. In early 1941, Rheinmetall presented the gun with the official designation of 7.5cm PaK-40. The PaK-40 was effectively a scaled-up version of the PaK-38. Besides a larger caliber, it also had a longer barrel and thicker armor plate. Also, all of its parts were made of steel, thus making the gun more solid with better ballistic performances. The caliber was 75mm, putting the gun in the class of heavy artillery. The length of the barrel related to the caliber was L46, that is 3.45 meters or 11 feet 3 inches. The barrel quality was undisputed, and since it was made of the finest steel, the estimated life of it was around 6,000 shots. The traverse was 65 degrees in both directions, while the elevation arc ranged from -6 to 22 degrees. With such features, the gun range could reach 8,100 meters or 26,500 feet on the elevation of 22 degrees. The effective firing range for most rounds was, however, far lower, 1,800 meters or 1,969 yards. Since it was almost entirely made of steel, the PaK-40 was very heavy, 1,425 kilograms or 3,142 pounds in its firing position. With such a weight, the PaK-40 was intended to be towed by vehicle. The vehicle intended for the purpose was the 3-ton half-track SDK FZ-11, but other vehicles were used as well. The tow vehicle was used to bring the gun to position, and then it was set up into firing position by a crew of 6 men. The PaK-40 fired several different types of armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds. The standard armor-piercing round was the Panzer-Granate 39 with a steel body. Panzer-Granate 40 was an improved armor-piercing round with a tungsten core. These were, however, withdrawn from use as tungsten became a scarce metal. The PaK-40 also fired the Panzer-Granate 38 HLB, a high-explosive hollow charge round. When the PaK-40 was first put into production in late 1941, the Barbarossa campaign was already proving that the 50mm PaK-38 was becoming obsolete. That was the signal for High Command to order as many PaK-40s as possible. The first gun saw action in the Second Battle of Kharkov from May 12th to the 28th, 1942. Production was increasing on a monthly basis, reaching a record 1,054 guns in October 1944. Such a need for guns was due to heavy losses on the front. The PaK-40 was too heavy to be transported without a tractor, so many of them were abandoned on the battlefield. More than 23,000 guns were built during the war. For better mobility, the PaK-40 was used as a mounted gun on various chassis, such as on the SDK FC-234-4 and capture chassis, which became the Martyr series. Until 1943, PaK-40s were leaving the production lines in the standard Panzergrau color. In 1943, the Dunkelgelb color was introduced. Camouflage was applied with green and brown colors by the troops on the field, depending on the surroundings. The PaK-40 was relatively mobile and powerful enough to deal with Allied tanks in the eastern and western fronts at large distances. Because of this, it was a widely used and popular anti-tank gun in Panzer-Jager units. Fire the Pak-40 in one of the many tank destroyers in War Thunder. War Thunder is a free-to-play military online game available on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. We play it on PC as the username Simple History. The game has a choice of over 1,000 realistic tanks, aircrafts, and ships, which you can use to fight in epic battles with tens of thousands of players from all over the world. Use the link in the description below to register and get a free premium tank or aircraft and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus.